All right. Hello, everybody. We are live to LinkedIn and our YouTube channel. And I am Scott Wingo, your host today. This is a live episode of Tweener Talks. It's an exclusive. We need a sound for that exclusive interview with John Erhart. He is the CEO and co-founder of Inn-flow. Hey, John.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you hopping on. You must be exhausted. I know you announced your big deal on Monday and then got on a jet, went to a trade show, were the belle of the ball, and then came home and then hopped on an interview with us. So we appreciate that.
That's exactly what just happened. Yep. Glad I got back here in time. No delays.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's we definitely want to get to this $45 million deal that you guys did. That's kind of going to be the punchline here, but let's start with a little background. Tell us your origin story. Where are you from, and how did you get into the hotel biz, and then how did you lead into Inn-flow?
Yeah, sure. I guess the best place to start is I've got a family business here in North Carolina. CMC Hotels own, operate, and build hotels. And back in 2008, we had 5 hotels that we were managing. And those hotels were being managed on a spreadsheet system. So for our accounting, the labor, we were even processing payroll using Excel. And so one of my jobs was to go and find something to replace it, because with that growth and with the number of employees, the spreadsheet system was cracking under that pressure. And so I went out to find the best products in the market and try them out in our different hotels to figure out which one was going to work best for us. Was pretty disappointed by what I found. And ultimately, we decided, hey, I developed some software for a previous company to do operations. So let's just go ahead and build it ourselves. That way we get exactly what it is that we need to run the hotel operations. 2010 launched kind of the first version of what would become Inn-flow. We used it internally. It worked really well. We had some friends and family in the industry take a look at it, and they said, hey, we'd like to use this product too. So light bulb moment. It spun off a separate business. That's when Inn-flow officially started, and went heads down on building out a product to take to market. In 2014, took it to an industry trade show in Philadelphia. Set up a booth, and was there with my wife. And when we got there, it's an enormous trade show called Hotel Owner Association. And the exhibit floor, they're selling everything from concrete to television screens to you name it. And for software, there was ADP, and then there was Inn-flow. So I thought immediately, I've come to the wrong place. There's no competitors here. We were just, I guess, early in that market. There wasn't a whole lot of attention being put on some of these owner conferences, and we got a ton of attention, really good attention, great feedback, and walked away from that conference with our first 5 subscriptions, and a lot of confidence that what we've built here is resonating with other hotel owners, operators.
Did you have any software experience prior to this, or like you just went seamlessly from hoteling to softwaring?
So I had for a prior company, Apple Designs. I got together with a developer, had an idea of pulling together, creating basically a CRM for a project management, CRM, and mashing those together with QuickBooks to be able to track the billing against our marketing, against the project performance. So I had created that before, which was a lot of fun. That was kind of a hobby, so I had some experience in developing software, but a lot of this was kind of learn as I go, which
Gotcha.
kind of goes to the bootstrap approach of really just taking a conservative growth approach, and And so as I brought on, after that trade show, I stopped all sales efforts and said, okay, how do I support and implement these new customers, and focused on that part of it.
One noob question. So, so hotels are typically one of the brand families, right? So like a Marriott, a Hyatt, a Hilton, so on and so forth. They don't just give you software for running the hotel?
Right. Yeah. So the
As
hotel,
a franchisee?
as a franchisee, they give you a reservation system. So
Okay.
Marriott has their reservation system, Hilton has theirs. And the reservation systems are what are at the front desk that check in the guest, handle the payments processing for the guest stay. And then the hotel brands don't give you anything to manage the operations of running the business of the hotel. That's all considered the back office software. And a lot of hotel owners, they own real estate, and they buy the real estate first, and they figure out which flag or brand to put on that real estate second. So they have different brands, and if a brand, it'd be difficult for a brand to dictate what you should use for, say, your accounting, because most owners, if they have a portfolio that's multiple hotels, they often have many brands in that portfolio.
Got it. Okay, so they don't give you anything. So then, why can't can just QuickBooks do this, or like what is the gap? So you've got reservations and accounting. What pieces need to be filled in?
Yeah, good question. Why is there such a specific need for hotel accounting? The ability to be able to pull in that PMS data, so that reservation system we talked about, the information that comes out of that, we integrate with that reservation system, and we pull in what's called the night audit, which is all of the finances and statistics at the end of the day, and that becomes the basis of their accounting. Their deposits, the revenue that comes in, but all of those statistics can then be used to drive analytics and budgets throughout accounting and all the different products. And for example, if you're going to analyze the performance of your hotel and you want to understand if your expense for your soap is $500 for the month, is that good or bad? Well, you can't compare it to the month prior, because it really depends on the performance of the hotel. If you sold a lot of rooms, you should have given away a lot of soap. So those expenses should fluctuate along with the hotel performance. So that's one of the big reasons of being able to have, one, that integration, and two, being able to have the reporting and the budgeting features that can then take that data and help you better budget and better analyze the performance of the hotel.
I got it. Okay, cool. And as an operator, you kind of knew this, right? Like, so you necessities and mother inventions here. Like, man, if this could just take my night report and like roll from there, this is what I want, and no one's built it. It's always funny that no one's built some. It seems like, as a software entrepreneur, it seems like every idea I come up with, there's 1,000 companies. But it's kind of funny that this is one of the largest industries in the world, and no one had solved this problem when you got working on it.
Yeah, really very surprising. It was surprising for me being in the industry, just assuming that there was going to be plenty of products to choose from.
Cool. So you go to the trade show. It's awesome. You realized it's a pretty clean field out there, and then you just started hunkering down and operating. So what time frame? Give us a year. Like, when was this? When you kind of started getting serious? There was kind of a period where you built it internally, then a period where you externalized it.
Yeah. So from 2010 to 2014, those 4 years was spent building out with some beta customers, the first version of the Inn-flow platform, which includes the accounting. There's a labor management product, a procurement inventory product, and a sales CRM. And so when we launched with all 4 of those products in 2014, and then we slowly built out the supporting services, focusing a lot on the customer success, the onboarding, the support part, and getting that feedback loop going, to the early learnings of where do we have good fit, and where do we need to to enhance the product as we're moving out into, because hotel management companies operate very similar in the fact that they're looking at very similar metrics, ADR, occupancy, RevPAR, but they have different sizes of portfolio, different sizes of corporate offices, and different ways in which that then those operations, the software needs to accommodate that wide range of operations org types.
Cool. So you built a mini little ERP here, and for running a hotel. And then labor management, I imagine the hotel is, you can probably look forward and see bookings and know how to kind of, because the doomsday is you bring all these people in and there's no guest, or the opposite, right? So because you've wired all this together, you can have a better customer experience because you can kind of better predict matching labor to all the things.
Absolutely. The labor is the number one controllable expense in the hotel operations. So being able to do two things: one, meet the guest's expectation so that you have the proper service level. And so if no one's there or not enough people are at the front desk, you're going to have unhappy guests because it takes too long to check in or check out. Also, if you have too many people at the front desk, then you're losing money. And in hotels, are very often it's a tight margin business, and you need to maximize the labor to meet that threshold. And so a product like Inn-flow, what it does is it creates labor models. So for all of the different positions, it takes in those metrics we talked about from the PMS and the forecasting. So based off of that forecasting, it can tell you how many hours and minutes you need in each and every one of those positions so that you can schedule them appropriately.
Got it.
And then, of course, do the analysis in the rears.
Cool. All right. So then you're building all this. Take us up to 2024 ish. So you've been bootstrapping all this time. How did that go?
Well, before we get there, in 2015 we added payroll. We started to add some services part to it as well. We added payroll services in 2015, and then in 2019 we added bookkeeping services.
So this is like a BPO kind of a thing where you can. The hotel can do it themselves, or they can outsource it to you, and you use you dog feed your software. The bookkeepers are using your accounting software.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. We had this at ChannelVisor actually, where we could run the software for you, or you could run it yourself. Yeah. There's a lot of people that basically say, "Can you just take care of everything for me?"
What we found, the reason that started the bookkeeping services is we had smaller customers. They didn't have a corporate office. They didn't have, a controller, and they had few properties, and so they didn't have that support. And then we noticed that they would churn out. They weren't able to get through the onboarding and really get set up properly. So we offered that booking service to help them do all that busy work, right? Because you have to have the data coming in, so you get the data coming out, and that worked real well for our smaller portfolios. And then when COVID hit and there was a lot of reduction in staff in the hotel operations, the bookkeeping services really took off because we had owners that were doing more with less, and really started to pay attention to outsourcing of some of those bookkeeping functions.
Very cool. All right. So you flushed out the suite, and then also the number of services, and then how'd that go?
So then we just kind of continued to improve upon the product and fill in gaps, work on integrations, and continue that bootstrap slow growth. We never took any outside investment and ran the business fairly conservatively. We never let the expenses outrun the revenue, and which made for healthy growth. And we started out with smaller portfolios and moved our way up market into larger and larger portfolios, which also turned out to be a good progression path because it allowed us to figure out what processes and services and features are needed for the majority of the operators out there, and allowed us to kind of build a nice solid foundation of customers.
Gotcha. And then we're here to discuss the deal. How big has Inflow gotten? Like, give us an idea of the scale of what you built here over the last 10 plus years.
Yeah, we have 170 employees now across U.S. and India. We're in well over 1,000 hotels all across the U.S., every state in the U.S. All brands, independents, and we're seeing 40% year-over-year growth, and
Nice.
That's accelerating.
Is that revenue or customer count? Or
that's revenue.
Revenue, yeah. Nice. So you got some scale. You're growing.
Got some
and
scale.
I know a lot of late stage investors love this rule of 40. So that's the magic number. Yeah. So they're cool with 20 and 20, but 40 and any other number is like a catnip to them.
Yeah. Which is probably a good segue to talking about like then.
Did you? So one founder question: did you ever imagine, having basically 170 people report to you?
No, never.
It's kind of I try not to think about it. Kind of like you can get super stressed out about it, but yeah, it's like there's so many mouths to feed, and oh my god, what am I doing?
Well, in the growth over 11 years, it's like boiling the frog. You just kind of look back and realize all of a sudden it's gotten to be big, but I didn't notice it along the way.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So then you're chugging along, and then what was there a catalyst, or what got you? And I've talked to you many times over the years about this, of like, why do VC, growth versus PE, all these kinds of things. What kind of was the trigger that led to you doing this financing?
Well, I've been heads down and not really engaged with the investment community all along, just paying attention to the product, the customer, and letting the company grow. It grew by referral, and just paying attention to the growth there. But at some point, and that point was at the beginning of 2024, realizing that the growth is accelerating, the opportunity in the market is becoming more obvious and more open as our feature set continues to round out, and realizing that there's an enormous opportunity that we can be going after, and that requires some capital to really if I want to accelerate the growth, and looking at things that are to 12 to 24 months ahead of what my resources will need. And so looking at that, then shoring up, fortifying the balance sheet, I hired a local fractional CFO, Michael Purcell, and he went through it, kind of did an audit, a diagnostics of the accounting to produce the SaaS metrics. You said the rule of 40, and there's a whole bunch of the other SaaS acronyms out there. And so Michael went and compiled our net revenue retention and gross revenue retention and CAC and all of these data points that investors would be interested in. And those metrics came out looking pretty good. And so based off of that, the desire to want to start to invest more in the business, we knew that the customers, we have really good customer NPS scores and customer referrals and recommendations, and knowing then there's these metrics that back up then the obvious growth that we've been seeing, gave me some confidence to go into the market and start having conversations with potential investors. There's a kind of an uptick in M&A and in the hospitality vertical and at that time. And so I was lucky enough to have a lot of inbound, and so started picking some of those that were inbounding that, one, had a good reputation from talking with others in the Triangle area that had either had conversations or had investments from. And yeah, it's kind of started the conversation to figure out what's the opportunity that's out there, and if we want to get some capital in to grow, what are our options? And quickly realized there's a lot of options out there, lots of different types and different shapes and sizes. And we looked at them all, and really kind of got started in earnest in September, August, late August, I think, in September, having conversations with debt, looking at venture capital, a mix between venture capital and debt and growth equity.
Gotcha. Cool. And then did you run like a little process where you said, here's our terms? Did you use a banker, or did you guys just do it yourself? That's a DIY.
Yeah, no, did not use a banker. It felt like using a banker is trying to maximize the the terms, and the advice that I received from a lot of locals were, make sure you find a good partner. I mean, if you're looking for someone to help you grow this, the partnership is going to be long lasting and real important. And so it felt like maybe the investment banker would get a bit in the way of that. And it felt more natural. I started working with Michael, and Michael helped as an advisor. And my legal team, John Fogg with Robinson Bradshaw, kind of became my team to go through the process with the interviews and starting to receive some different term sheets.
Gotcha. Cool. And then I would expect nothing less from someone that bootstraps to do it themselves. It's like part of your DNA, DIY through and through. And then so you ended up maybe just kind of talk about where you landed on the deal, like how much, who'd you go with, and all that good stuff.
Well, we narrowed it down after looking at all the different options. We ended up with what we were looking for: someone that has experience with companies like Inn-flow, which would be B2B, SaaS, ERP, founder led, and we ended up with two. We ended up with two of the growth equity offers that were really attractive. The thought there was that they've had the experience, they have the resources. It would also, the growth equity would allow us to avoid a Series A, a Series B, a Series C, and just go with one partner with the resources and experience. And we were negotiating over this. Now we're in December, around the Christmas holidays. We're doing it
always kind of takes as much time as it allowed, and that means it always runs into Christmas.
Right. Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear this story is not uncommon.
Nope.
We had Michael was in London. I was on a family vacation in Thailand, and we were negotiating in Baltimore and San Francisco. So we were in a lot of time zones, so the coordination was almost comical. But we ended up landing on an agreement just past Christmas, and Mainsail Partners is who we ultimately ended up partnering with.
Cool. And I poked around their site as part of the article I wrote. It looks like they're out of Austin and San Francisco.
Yeah, they've got an office in Austin and San Francisco, and a lot of investments across the U.S., but a lot Midwest and into the Pacific.
Yeah, and I think this is their first Triangle deal. I didn't look at the overall history, but on the portfolio page, nothing else stuck out to me.
Yeah, I believe it is.
That's awesome. I tagged them when I wrote the article, and they they chimed in and said they were excited. And I being the mayor of Raleigh, I was basically like, hey, we definitely want to see more Triangle deals, guys. So yeah, they're primed. They're primed for us to get them here. They'll have a great experience with you guys, and then we'll get them investing in more stuff.
We're excited about partnering with them, and they're excited about not only being in the hospitality industry and partnering with us, but being in the Triangle. And so
Yeah.
it's great to hear like there's a lot of buzz around North Carolina and specifically the Triangle in the investment circles outside of this area.
Awesome. Well, I promised we'd take under 30 minutes. We're running up against it. What's this mean for Inn-flow going forward? Obviously, you chose a partner that wants you to grow. So yeah, how you're going to double head count and get to 800 people? where are you heading?
Yeah, the growth is going to happen in our accelerating our development. 3 areas: accelerating the development. We have all of these great ideas that some are in flight and some are sitting in the wings. This will give us the ability to spin those up and deliver more enhancements. And we've got some net new products that are be coming out in the next quarter. Hiring some key staff. We want to kind of round out our leadership team and expand departments like customer success, our onboarding, to be able to continue to better serve as we grow, and then marketing. We've been quietly building. We're this 11-year-old startup, quietly building the company here, and we haven't put a lot into marketing, and so we want to utilize some of the resources to let everybody in the industry know that we're here.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. I like that you just like said, this whole ABC thing is drab. I'm just going to skip and do it all in one chunk. I'm somewhat envious of that because now it means you won't be fundraising for a long time. So it is I'm sure you've heard that from myself and other folks that it is a grind to kind of just keep fundraising. So it was smart of you to get this up to a very high level, do one and done, and then maybe not done, but we'll see how it goes down the line. But certainly for the foreseeable future, you got plenty of capital to go execute on your plan.
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. The fundraising part, that I think you got to really like that part of it. I'm glad to be now getting back to my day job.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, congratulations to you and the team. And we're excited to have Mainsail here in the Triangle. And I think I love these stories. This is what's fun about the Triangle is we have just, 8,000 flavors of different entrepreneurship going on. And bootstrapping is an awesome part. And congratulations on all the success.
Scott, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right. Let me see.